ready to start our ceremony. The International Award, the Guardian of Humanity, is an idea of the Totem of Humanity organization. Let's give them a round of applause. Our award is called to draw attention to the important role the woman plays in forming the world order throughout the ages. I have worked as a psychologist with our military for about 10 years. Since my first sessions with the military, I understood that we also have to work with the rare, with the families, with those who are close to our soldiers. Being at the front line is a really big challenge. You get to learn how you cannot give in to your emotion. You have to remain stable. So it's a great knowledge, great skill to remain stable. So the culture of communication is a great art. It's very important for modern Ukraine. Sometimes it's better to speak calmly with your loved one, with the soldier, without screaming, without yelling. You have to wait until the moment is right. You have to be calm. I can speak with you calmly. I can hold your hand. That's the way to speak with the military. So the culture of communication is really important. And of course, I understand that in a community as we have here, we all know that. Of course, we cannot start our ceremony without singing something that is a symbol of unity of all Ukrainians, especially in modern times. We have been fighting for freedom for centuries, for the freedom to create, for the freedom to feel ourselves as special people, freedom to make something beautiful and bring into this world. Now, let's stand up for the anthem of Ukraine. Thank you very much. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to heroes. The folklore team Zernятko, led by Raisa Shmatko. The girls will come back to us later in the evening. Hearing our anthem, we recall that the former government of Ukraine was always clear about the need to stand for Ukraine, for its freedom. Of course, the enemy wants us all to panic, to remain in chaos, but we still strive for joy. We want to rejoice over life. I remember a concert in front of the soldiers in Mariupol in 2014. We saw soldiers sitting there without any emotions, but then we understood that they had just returned from a combat mission. Then one of their commanders said that the strong rear makes up for the strong front line. You all at the rear need to be strong to make sure that the soldiers are also strong and resolute. Let us be ourselves today. Rejoice, have fun. Also, today you will hear plenty of information, and I will have to read out a lot of that information because it's impossible to learn it all by heart. Before we proceed, let us honor with a moment of silence those who have sacrificed the most valuable thing they had, their life, for our right to remain alive. Thank you. Please sit down. There are lots of stories in history where women played a crucial role. If we analyze the history of Ukraine, the issue of gender equality was never an issue for Ukraine. Women were always side by side with their men, and often women even ruled the countries and led the armies. We will recall many historical figures who lived on our land. We will remember the heroes, female heroes who lived here and who still live here. The first one is, of course, the actress, the director, public activist, the Triumph Center director, the Totem of Humanity organization director, Tatyana Zabavska. Hello, I'm really glad to see you here. I really need your support. So thank you all for being here with us. And I'm glad to tell you that we meet many women that stand side by side with the men, doing a lot for the country, some amazing things. This is felt especially when our country is going through war. We see how many strong women, amazing women, stand for their country and help it. So we decided to set up an international award, the Guardian of Humanity. We want you to learn more about the strong women of the world and, of course, those from Ukraine. Because with their actions, with their mind, with their work, the woman takes care of this world. This has been the case since ages back. We want to honor these women and thank them for this tremendous work. We are presenting 4 nominations as of today. Of course, there will be more. God willing, we will have more nominations in November this year. So the nominations are the Strong Woman of the World, the Charity the power of education, culture, art, research, and sports. And the fourth nomination is Indomitable Ukrainian Woman. They're symbolically dedicated to women from our Ukrainian history. And we hope that the ceremony, this award ceremony, will be able to hold as early as this autumn. We will have an acclaimed jury, we will have a charter, and we will, of course, announce a contest beforehand. But to present the award, it's something we can do already today. We can also present the nominees who we believe can be honored with it. We had planned this event for the previous year, but the circumstances were such that we cannot hold it. So we're glad to be presenting it today. Let's stick to the timing of our event. So we have this inferiority complex of Ukrainians, which is something that is dragging us back to the past. But we need to think about what Elizabeth II said back in the day. She has ties with the Ukrainian kingdom house. Many women that we'll recall today have roots to Ukraine, have Ukrainian roots. So we have to be proud of them, and we have to make sure that we honor what we have, the people we have here in Ukraine. Let me introduce honorable guests, I hope for the rounds of applause. Public activist volunteer, managing partner of restaurants of Asian and European cuisine, Evrazia, Oksana Tikhonenko. First Vice President of the Kyiv Commercial Chamber, Lyudmila Sizikova. Poet, public activist, member of the National Association of Writers of Ukraine, the Svitlina unit leader, Larisa Petrova, director of the Kyiv National University of Theater, Movies, and Television, Inna Kocheryan. Chief of the Dairy Factory Firma Favor, Ama Raisa Mihailova. The founder of the Sonyashnik International Fest, chair of the board of the charity Sonyashnik, Alla Horbanova. Acclaimed artist of Ukraine, co-founder of the Kvitka Tsisik International Fest, Irina Persanova. An acclaimed artist, chief PR officer for Ukrainians abroad, Ivana Kanzera. Chief of the Culture Department at Pechersk District Center of Kyiv Administration, Diana Marinich. Federation of Women for Peace, Olena Sinyuk. The floor goes to Lyudmila Sizikova, First Vice President of the Kyiv Chamber of Commerce. You have 2 minutes. Dear colleagues and guests, I'm really happy today because I believe that this award, of which Ms. Zabavska told me, has to live a long life. We are seeing this award being conceived. It's an amazing idea, a really charismatic, really historical, really patriotic, full of love to Ukraine, full of love to our people, our women. This is all over which we rejoice today. We want to say that the Chamber of Commerce is a body that always supports such initiatives. We like people who move our economy, the Ukrainian economy, forward, who move forward the national idea, who move the progress forward, who support new initiatives. As first vice president, I'm also a chair of the committee of women entrepreneurs for 7 years. And for 5 years, I've been working with the Association of Women Entrepreneurs from Western Balkans and Ukraine. I'd like to say that the women entrepreneurs from Montenegro, Northern Macedonia, Croatia are the same as us. They love their country so much. They love their families so much. They want their countries to develop, and they work really hard. They are much like us. They're diligent. They're full of ideas. They're inspired. We are also part of the European community. We are part of our culture is part of the global culture. We can move our culture forward. We can develop. We can make a brand out of the Ukrainian woman as such. I believe the award like this is about branding Ukrainian women. It's about making a brand out of them as a guardian of their family, a guardian of their country. So the challenges that we are going through right now are only making us stronger. Yeah, they will make us more prominent for the world. I'd like to thank Ms. Tatiana for serving Ukraine, for serving the Ukrainian people and Ukrainian history. All right, my friends, we need to learn more about each nomination. So the first nomination is the important strong woman of the world. Influential woman of the world. It has been created to honor the daughter of Yaroslav the Wise, Anna. She had great influence over the global politics and society. She brought the new level of culture to Paris, to France. She brought it to England. Anna's memory has been living to date. We need to remember that the Frenchmen, given their historical ties with Imperial Russia, the French often call her Andalusie. So this does not favor Kievan roots too much, and Russian propaganda contributes to her being perceived as someone from Russia, not from Ukraine. Rus and Russia sound almost the same for Western Europeans. We need to fix that. The nominees in this nomination are driving forward the reforms, the transformation. We can name Golda Meir, the first Prime Minister of Israel, who is known for her firm leadership during the Six-Day War. She's one of the founders of the independent Israel. It's pleasant to know that she was born in Kyiv, and she never hid this fact. And we're glad and proud to remember that. Also, Margaret Thatcher, another nominee, the Prime Minister of Great Britain. The period of her rule was the period of progress and inspiration. The Britain managed to structurally restore and modernize its economy. Also, Diana Spencer, the Princess of Wales, really beautiful lady, Lady D, aristocrat, philanthropist, cultural and fashion icon. I dare say, the woman who created new trends. She left this world in a really dramatic way, but she left a piece of herself in everyone's heart. Janet Yellen, the chief advisor to the president on economic affairs. We see her on the screens, Janet Yellen. Her analytical skills amaze other people. we can say often-wise women become victim of gender inequality, but analytical skills in women are known to be better than men's. Also, we have Ursula von der Leyen, the first president of the European Commission. She's from Germany. She worked at the cabinet of Angela Merkel. She was the first defense minister in Germany. All these women manifested a great level of leadership, and some of them still do. They inspire us with their example. If they could do something, we can too. But everyone has its own way. We don't idolize them, but we still do understand that women can do more, and every woman should do more. First Lady of our state, Olena Zelenska, is also part of this team. He was the first woman to address U.S. Congress, first lady from other country than the United States. We hope that this will be the last war we're seeing, the last war with Russia. We hope that we will be able to award Olena Zelenska maybe in November. So yeah, this is shortly about the first nomination. Before I proceed to the second nomination, I give this floor to Lyudmila Onofriese, the president of the charity Shishiraley, the founder of the Center of Assistance, Dream and Victory, the founder of the Institute of the Female People's Diplomacy, and volunteer. Hello everyone, I would like to thank Ms. Tatiana. You're doing amazing things. All our women need victories. They create victories and they're making tremendous efforts. On behalf of my organization, I'd like to express gratitude to all attendants and to wish you great results. So women play a great role in our society. Among them, there are many leaders in the areas of charity, legal field, rehabilitation work in politics and diplomacy. Over the 2 years of full-scale war, Ukrainian women have proven that they can be real great leaders. People across the world speak about them. They receive awards, not only in Ukraine, but also worldwide. According to the Ministry of Defense, we have 15% women in the army. It's more than 60,000 people. 6 million Ukrainians, men and women, left the country, fleeing the war. But international advocacy among women, organizations and platforms is an important instrument in fighting off Russia. This is an important channel of communication with like-minded people all across the world. We need to tell the truth about the horrors of war that Russia is waging against Ukraine. So the women are leaders to this end. They're showing great results. The so-called diplomatic battalion of our women is really effective. Our female legislators visiting European capitals contribute to international assistance. Our female legislators meet with United States lawmakers, European lawmakers. They make sure that the rights of our women are preserved. They speak about that on all international platforms. In these circumstances, we need to keep the international community well informed about Ukraine, about its war, to make sure that we received international assistance. In the times of war, our women prove that they contribute to decision-making, and their presence must be expanded. They will be also important in post-war recovery. 73% of our displaced Ukrainians are women. Mostly they're highly skilled workers, specialists, experts, but they're now abroad. And our aim is to make the Ukrainian recovery of the best level, to make sure that these women return to Ukraine and become the steel border of our rear. These people may contribute to the life of Ukraine becoming stronger and indomitable. I often work abroad, traveling the world, and before the war, my perception of my fellow women abroad was not as high. I didn't believe they could do as much, but now I see that our women staying abroad, traveling abroad, can do a lot, really. I remember a quote from my Croatian partner with whom I've been working for 15 years, who has been helping Ukraine. He said that the woman at the negotiation table gives us more chances for stable and multi-year support and assistance. So we all wish that our women become a steel border for our rear. Multitasking skills are one of the best represented ones in Ukrainian women. It's great to see how the synergy of Ukrainian women, female community, women's community has become stronger. This is not about competition. This is about recognizing the power of each other and the peculiarities of each other. The women's community is the strongest in the world. Maybe the men will agree with us. Yeah. Who would not agree with that, right? Okay, so now the next nomination is charity and philanthropy. We're symbolically honoring Anastasia Yaroslavna. She has been active in charity, and she has been active in helping build Orthodox Christian monasteries. This nomination focuses on philanthropy, on the development of the spiritual world. We should also remember the last pharaoh of ancient Egypt, Cleopatra VII. She is known for the charitable contribution to education, culture, and art in Egypt. Maria Theresa, the Emperor of the Roman Empire, also Cindy McCain, the American businesswoman, the philanthropist, the chief one of the largest humanitarian agencies of the UN, the World Food Program. She has been this agency has been active in helping Ukrainians since the first days of war. Varvara Khanenko, an acclaimed Ukrainian woman, the founder of the National Museum of Bohdan and Varvara Khanenky. They have sponsored hospitals for the poor, maternity hospitals, commercial schools. For the 50 years, they have collected over 1,000 artistic pieces and a large library. Olena Pinchuk is a Ukrainian entrepreneur, a philanthropist. She founded a fund. She's really active in supporting education, healthcare, culture, and social support. Of course, she sponsors projects for kids with special needs and veterans. Maria Petrova-Matsyuk, the head of the All-Ukrainian League of Ukrainian Women, a volunteer with the Ukrainian Armed Forces, the founder of many, many international charity projects on education, volunteership, the support for internally displaced persons, for military, and many, many other projects. And this is my great honor to invite Miss Maria to have the floor. Let's give Miss Maria another round of applause, please. You got 2 minutes. I greet you all, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to add that I'm also a mom, a mother of many children. I have a big family. This is what drives me forward. I also own a business. It's a jewelry factory, Remtoch Mechanica. This is an opportunity showing a woman from different angles. I'm not even talking about myself. I just like to say that when I see the pictures of women over the period of full-scale invasion, for 7.5 months, I had orders to be at the front line. I had an opportunity, along with my fellow women, to reconsider many things in my life. We understand that the place of women is not on the front line. We need to preserve and take care of the rare. When my colleague here recalled gender things, psychology, I'd like to say that the psychological trauma of all Ukrainian women is here. It's not gone anywhere. We have created the National Council of Psychologists of Ukraine. Today at 4 p.m., the delegation of best practitioners from France is starting training courses for 50 psychologists from frontline regions of Ukraine. 99% of those psychologists are women, and all of them are heroes. The protocols they have to work with are all horrendous stories. I'm sure many of us hear and see and experience such stories, but it's really important to support women. When our foreign guests visit us for the first time and offered this initiative, we of course said there would be a great opportunity. When there was training in Latvia with government support, it was really pleasant, really nice to pass the presents from Ukraine, to tell them about our stories. We tell them that our women are strong. If we speak about gender, our women are all another kind of gender. It's a completely different type. Women outside Ukraine don't understand how a mom of many children can be also a military, a volunteer, and contribute to so many initiatives that it won't be enough to cover in a day. But if we are together, we can create miracles. And I'm sure that today's award is like a baby. Of course, it's never easy at the start. And when we're all nervous, it's okay. So when we come to autumn, when there's going to be a real award ceremony, it will be smoother. We're glad to honor women internationally and in Ukraine. I recall the late Anna Kisil, the head of the women's organizations of Ukraine, a woman of the kindest heart. She has done so much good to Ukraine. So yes, I'm grateful to all of you for continuing this work, for being kind. I wish you all victory and a happy future to our children. Thank you, Miss Maria. God willing, all your words come into life. Seizing this opportunity, I will get back to it later. Let's talk about the next nomination, the power of education. This is the most extensive nomination. It includes representatives from education, science, culture, art, sports, and healthcare. It honors the acclaimed women from the field who contributed to the development of the level of education and science. Now we'll say that this nomination has been, it's honoring Yelizaveta, the daughter of Yaroslav. She contributed to the cultural exchange between Rus and Scandinavia. That's a really interesting historical example when daughters, were offered as wives to other kings and princes abroad to make international ties stronger. So the way how she contributed to dealing with international affairs testifies to the fact that there was love in that relationship. Yelizaveta and Ahata contributed to education development in England. In the artistic field, a large contribution was made by Frida Kahlo, a Mexican artist known to the entire world. Sonia Delona, an artist and designer from Poltava region, who created her art in Paris. And the first exhibition of her works was done in Louvre in Paris. She became the officer of the Order of Legion. Also, Maria Primachenko, one of the most famous Ukrainian artists. In 2022, her works became part of the main program of the Venice Biennale. We know how the enemy tried to destroy the museum of Maria Primachenko, to destroy all the traces of her work, and to claim that it was never the case, to claim that her works did not matter at all. But we preserve the memory of all those works. We know that many exhibits from the museum were taken by locals and this way rescued by average Ukrainians. In literature, we cannot but notice Ursula Le Guin, the Grand Dame of science fiction, one of the three most acclaimed authors in this genre. Also, we have John Rowling, of course, a British writer, the author of the Harry Potter saga. $400 million copies of her work were sold. So we have Lesia Ukrainka, famous Ukrainian writer, poet, who once said that you're as many times human as many languages you know. She's an interpreter and philosopher. Of course, we have Lena Kostenko, a poet, writer, and interpreter, laureate of many literature awards. She's a philosopher. We can quote her forever and ever, a cradle of great quotes. We hope that we can award her personally. As for theatrical art and music, we have many representatives to honor. It's Maria Zankovetsky, the dawn of Ukrainian theater, Ukrainian actor and director. She's one of the founders of Ukrainian National Theater. She has been with this theater for 40 years. She has contributed greatly to restoring it. Also, Solomia Krushelnitska, one of the greatest opera singers of the 20th century. She has amazed the whole world, and she would always remind people that she's from Ukraine. Kvitka Tsisik, an American singer of Ukrainian origin, the voice of Hollywood movies, and the most expensive singer for commercials. She would work with Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, and other world celebrities. She would promote constantly the Ukrainian music among American and European audiences. Also, Nina Matvienko, the soul of Ukrainian songs, the hero of Ukraine, the actor and singer. Her voice is also widely known across the world. All these women have been promoting Ukrainian culture, Ukraine's idea, preserving and promoting Ukrainian interests that are also part of the guarantees of the national security. We cannot underestimate the value and the force of culture and education. This is the core, this is the foundation for security. Scientists, women scientists. Maria Skłodowska-Curie, a Polish and French scientist, public figure, the first woman to become a Nobel Prize laureate. She received 2 of them from physics and chemistry. Radioactive research. This is something she's been championing. She championed in her life. Also, Rosalind Franklin, a British scientist. Her work contributed to us knowing what DNA is. Remember her. Photo 51. Florence Nightingale, a British nurse, the founder of nursery as we know it. Sofia Jablonska, a movie camera woman who traveled all across the globe. She was, let's say, a travel blogger of the time. Other women never traveled so much, but she succeeded in that. We are grateful to all those brave women to voice their demands, their wishes, and realize them. So many women I noted, and I know a man who can also address this quite well. It's Ihor Kuryliv, a national artist of Ukraine, the leader of the academic people's choir, Verovka choir, a laureate of the Ticina Award. Glad to see you here. Hello everyone, distinguished guests. A lot of people I saw on the screen I can comment on. I can agree with the words our host told us today. I can only not agree with Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who said that women need education only to be liked by men. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that our women are, of course, the elite of our country that moves, that drives the world forward. I see that many of us focused on the daughters of Yaroslav, but they had someone else. We had Princess Olha, who was a state maker. You should recall the fact from history that when the Prince Ihor, her husband, died in the war with Drevlyans, she avenged him really smartly. She told all residents that the tax was 3 sparrows and 3 pigeons. She tied a burning cloth, to those birds and let them fly toward the enemy. So those birds with the burning cloth burned down the entire city of the enemies. So that was a smart move. So what I'm saying is that the example reminds us of modern-day drones, doesn't it? That was actually the first application of drones in a war. So yeah, this is an interesting episode from the life of our women. We also recall Solomia Krushelnitska. I can't even recall any followers near her at the level. She was the queen of Wagner's operas, a dramatic soprano. Can you imagine singing Wagner's operas for 10 years? You can lose your voice in those 10 years, but she has a really strong voice. So Arturo Toscanini, a Italian director, a despot, as people called him, who would humiliate the orchestras. He was really demanding. No one was able to make a mistake or even sit down on a stool. But to Miss Krushelnitska, he allowed her to sit during rehearsals. He recognized her skills, so she was phenomenal. Speaking of our education, there were many women whose biographies were of large interest to me. It was Sofia Rusova. It was Natalia Kobrinska. Speaking of feminists, Olha Kobylanska, Chrystiałczewska. Can you imagine? Chrystiałczewska educated 17,000 children. She gave education to 17,000 children. So these examples tell us that a woman is the base of all the bases. We understand that a woman gives birth to our humanity as such. They are guardians, as Miss Tatiana put into the title of the award. I can also say a couple of words about U.S. senators coming to Ukraine, and now the Verovki choir just returned from a tour. We had a big show at the Kennedy Center. It was fantastic. It was a nice presentation of Ukrainian art in the U.S. We showcased our skills for the first time in the last 30 years. So it was the same hall we performed as the last time. Almost after every piece we performed, we had a standing ovation. I spoke with many guests, many people attending our shows, and I heard about many choirs and bands, folklore bands, moving from Ukraine to the United States, or coming to the United States for shows, but they have never experienced, they have not experienced for a long time the shows of such quality as our choir delivered. So we hope we can go there again and praise Ukraine, promote its culture. So yeah, the lion's share of our success is due to our female performers in our choir. I'm glad to see you all here. Let God help you all in all your endeavors. And this one, of course, moving together toward victory. Glory to Ukraine. And in the post-war period, we need to stand united as well. That's what I'd like to add. Oh, yeah, you feel the vibes the right way. So our next nomination will be about Princess Olha. This is a personal sentiment for me, the Verovki choir. My mom used to sing there 30 years ago. She was there in the United States 30 years ago. I remember that. I was just shaking. I was so amazed by each performance. So yeah, I'd like to wish all Ukrainians wisdom to value our culture, our beautiful things we have, even without war. So, to your applause, I would like to invite a soloist from the Galina band, the winner of many international awards, Tatiana Sarapina.
Моє ім'я батьківщина, лелеки легке крило, моє ім'я Україна і сонечка тепло, моє ім'я вишиванка, я хрестик на полотні, моє ім'я синє небо, я сонях малий підний. Татові слова, Україна це я.
Thank you. Tatiana Sarapina, a round of applause, please. So our last nomination today, the last but not the least, the indomitable Ukrainian woman symbolically dedicated to Princess Olga. So we honor her contribution and fight for her state, for her country, not only in the battlefield, but in everyday life, everyday work. So as parts of the puzzle, she puts together the whole picture. We should also remember Maria Fischer-Slish, an expert in prophylactic and clinical pediatrics, the author of research works and textbooks. Irina Nikorok, the Arm Women Now project founder. The company has been designing the uniforms for women since the start of the war under NATO standards. Raisa Shmatko, an active public figure, a war volunteer, the founder of the initiative to help oncological patients, the hero of the Maidan Revolution. She has been all around the front line. She has been really active outside Ukraine, traveling the world to tell foreign partners about what's happening in Ukraine. She has been awarded a Iron Cross for the liberation of Pisky. Miss Raisa, these are the applause. This is the applause for you. You are really inspiring people. Thank you for that applause. I like to say a lot about our women. I'm also leader of the All-Ukrainian Association of Women for Ukraine. 55% of Ukrainian population are women. And a Ukrainian woman is a really powerful term. The whole world knows that. Since the war started, the number of women in the army has risen by 14,000. On the front line, there are many women fighting really powerfully. It's hard there, of course. I know that. So we all have to raise those issues. We have to tell people abroad about our war. Of course, unfortunately, when I travel abroad, I have people I know there, photojournalists, artists, and it was painful to hear from someone in Paris, in Düsseldorf, that we are not being heard. Also in Washington, people told me that our voice is not loud. We understand that our women, displaced Ukrainians, many of them are now abroad. They need to save our genetic fund, but it doesn't mean they need to wait until it's all over here. They need to contribute. They need to work in the media space as all. They need to not only perform or just sing, but do more. There was this rally, an action in Vienna. Some women sang Ukrainian songs. Okay, tell me, does anyone know the Ukrainian language in Vienna? Maybe there's some other way to promote Ukraine without waiting for us to be at the same time fighting the war and promoting Ukraine. So I hear these things. I can say that many people tell me that. Ed Napoleon was one of those persons who told me that. He was here in Ukraine for 6 or 7 times. He went with me to the front line. He shot a really nice film. He made a great exhibition, photo exhibition. I was invited to that by the Paris City Council. So these people tell us that, they tell me that more and more must be told about Ukraine. But I didn't see Ukrainian women making such photo exhibitions. In the 12 days that I was in Paris, I hosted 5 events in Paris. We awarded someone helping Ukraine. We did other things. Okay, so you need to do all that. In May, we're going to have a journalist from Ohio coming here for the 4th time. His last name is Kirby. He likes coming to us. He wants to go to the front line, but he's not ripe enough to go there yet, I believe. When I go to the front line, I go exactly at the line of to the line of contact. I see no sense for volunteers to be somewhere at the headquarters. But that's my position. Maybe someone needs to travel at least to the headquarters at the front line. But not everyone wants to go to the line of contact. We're having religious holidays coming, so I have a wish. Please don't waste your money on something that the army doesn't need. They need antennas, drones, they need e-warfare equipment. They don't need food. Of course, you can bring some sweets or whatever, but the real stuff they need is equipment. So when I see tons of aid, when I see all that stuff that people waste lots of money for, that's shameful. I know that the drones are not that expensive, so please focus on that. Please, I address all women. I ask all women to unite, to rally other people to join our effort. Our women must be heard abroad. 55%, it's not few. Of course, many women left the country, but also we see that every day, with every day, there are more and more women joining the army. But we have to be thankful to our predecessors who were really strong wives of Cossacks and Cossacks themselves. They were fighting as well. I see tender, I see nice young women here in Ukraine, but how strong they are. But I also understand that in the post-war period, there'll be even more work for women to perform. We see many women trying to survive those horrible explosions. They have this stress all the time. And the psychologists need to work with those women, with those children we have. This is our future. Children are our future. Our soldiers are fighting for them, and we're helping them. But it's all for our people, our women and children, to live in our beautiful Ukraine. There's no country as beautiful as Ukraine. I've traveled the world, and trust me, we need to work together. Please, I ask you kindly, we have to stand united. No quarrels, no pitting against each other, no infighting. We need to fight together. This is a priority task. We need to help our army to repel the invasion and prevail at the front line. Then we need to restore our country to help it recover. Glory to Ukraine, and thanks for the invitation. Thank you very much. Those are the words of gold. My mom is also inspiring to me. She won a grant. She built a rehearsal base at the bunker, at the shelter, for the children to have continuous education, nonstop. So what she did was provide for the space for them to learn, to study. So for the Zernyatko ensemble, for their vocal team, this is very important. Our children need to get the education to eventually become diplomats, government officials, volunteers, military, whatever. We write what we saw. So I give this floor to another indomitable woman, a driver paramedic, the vice president of the first volunteer clinic here of Ukraine, Galina Almazova. Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me, for trusting in me, for the opportunity to wear this dress and look like a woman. For the past 10 years, I've always been in the circle of men. It's really nice to see so many women here in this room. I wasn't really preparing for this speech, so I'd just like to say that, well, just to give you some examples. Last summer, I was invited by the Ukrainian diaspora to Poland. So I was the only active duty military at the time. I was given the floor, and after myself, Kwasniewski was speaking. So he said, I was preparing so much for this address, but I won't say anything after what I heard from Galina. I just understood from her words. I realized that this light, this power, this womanhood is nowhere else to find but in Ukraine. It radiates light and power. It gives us hope that and understanding that we will eventually win. We also really underestimate our womanhood. There are many examples of such things at the front line, just some of them. The village of Pisky, after the fighting was over, a lot of our guys perished there. And one of the guys, Dima, who I was providing first aid in the field, he opened his eyes, and the first thing he said, the only reason I probably survived was that I was really willing to see her smile. When there was another assault, a storming of the area where we were liberating the Kharkiv region, and I was visiting our soldiers at the trenches with my ambulance kit. So one of the commanders saw me there. He stopped for a second. Then he proceeded with his, fighting. Then he went back to the dugout and said that we were expected to retreat. But when I saw you here, I understood that we can't retreat. We need to hold our ground because you were here. And another case, the team returned from the combat mission and the commander is laughing. I see him laughing. And he says, our guys were so tired and exhausted, they were not willing to do anything to clean their guns. And then you come, and everyone is starting to do something to becoming more active. So what I'm talking about is that our womanhood, being a woman, is really a powerful thing. Of course, people say that the face of the war is not a woman's face. Of course it isn't. But the power and the inspiration that we're giving to our men is incomparable. It can't be overestimated. I'd like to wrap this up with probably the powerful message we all need and critical for us is we need to stay indomitable. We need to stay strong and no one will break us. Thank you, Ms. Galina. I should also add that Galina is also a professional racer, rallyist. She's a senior lieutenant with the Armed Forces of Ukraine. This dress really suits you. I hope we have many nice occasions to meet. So many women we see here that we have presented. They're so different but so powerful. One of the most famous paramedics from Ukraine with more than 10 years of work at the front line, Julia Karachevsky. We were expecting to see her here to present her with the first award, symbolically today, the Guardian of Humanity. Miss Tatiana was supposed to present it, but we will probably do it later on. Tyra is the voice of the prisoners of war. Her powerful speech at the Munich Security Conference inspired the European community, the international community, and she said that we must be heard across the world. Just a week ago, I was at the meeting in the British Parliament, and I asked local politicians how come some people don't understand the essence of the war between Russia and Ukraine? They just say, why can't you come to terms? And I'm asking them, what can Ukrainian do to stop the discussion about the negotiations with a maniac? We can't negotiate with someone who always lie, who say one thing and then do the other. So one of the people in the delegation is from the podcast Ukraine the Latest, and Francis Dernley, he supports the Ukrainian cause. He told me one important thing, that people get used to everything, so you need to change the angle of coverage, the angle of channeling your stories to conveying the truth. So you need to present the truth through various angles to make sure that there's no fatigue from the war in Ukraine. We need to keep the international attention on top agenda. So there is another woman who is a collective image of all of us, Miss Tatiana Zabarska. We want her to present the award to an all-time partner of her organization, of the cause. So please, you can do that to the round of applause. So Oksana Tikhonenko is about to receive this award. I'd like to thank our partner and friend. It's due to Miss Oksana's efforts that you are able to see our project, to see our work and attend this event. Thank you very much. Thank you, Miss Oksana. Thank you, Miss Tatiana. So now we're going to speak about a virtual Ukrainian woman who has become victorious for the Kalosh Orchestra at the Eurovision Song Contest. We know this song so well, and we invite again the Zernyatko band here. We see them dressed in a replica of the Kievan Bruce timed dresses. So if you want to dance, please feel free to do so. If you want to sing, please feel free to do so. The Ukrainian Eurovision entry from last year, Stefania.
Мамо, Стефанія, розкидає поле, а вона сивіє. Заспівай мені, мамо, колескову, хочу ще почути твоє рідне слово. Вона мене колесала, дала мені ритми, напевно, силу волі не забрати мене подала. Вона, напевно, знала, може, більше і від Соломона ломаними дорогами прийде. Я завжди до тебе, бо не розбудить, не буде. Мене сильні бурі забере бабулі, дідулі, ніби вони кулі, дуже добре
the Zernatko band, led by Raisa Shmatko. I also have a sister who also has many children, Ivana Zakleska. While mom was away, besides her 3 children, she also helps these girls. My 3 girls are also part of this band. We are showing the example of synergy. They all love Ukraine. We all love Ukraine. And thank you, girls, for wrapping this up with such an exclamation mark. I hope you heard a lot of important things for yourselves and learned about the ways you can promote Ukraine better. Well, thank you all who were in attendance today, and thank you all who are watching this online. So I'll remind you that in November this year, we will have an offline ceremony of awards. We will award women. We are ready to hear the opinions about those who you think are worthy of being awarded. You will hear updates, you will see the updates on how you can vote, how you can provide your expert conclusions about certain nominees. So now it's time to give each other a hug, to give some warm wishes. The director, Kateryna Levchenko, host, Anna Zakletska, the organizer and the inspiring person. Thank you all, and see you all later.